Well, hello, everybody. Happy New Year. How's it going? Good to see you guys. Okay, let me get back to the comments. I'm gonna have my cigarettes. Yes, thank you, Beach Bum. Please consider signing the petition if you haven't. Every name matters, it counts. We need it. Happy New Year, everybody. We're finally in the same year, allegedly, as the trial. That's loose, very loose. How you doing? It's good to see you guys here. I don't even try to set myself up for failure. I don't even try to set my New Year's resolution to be on time because I already know I'm going to mess that up immediately. So, how's it going? Hello, who said Kate and Kathy? And Kathy's backstage as always, doing all the magic that she does. Zero sugar. You just, I don't know. Better than the regular sugar, I guess. Hello, Jean Panek. Hey, Jennifer. Spread love, not hate. Um, Samantha Mustard McDowell. How you doing? From Northern Ireland. Tom Vaughn. Papa Smurf. Tina Reddington. How's it going, lady? Good to see you. And Ron Hensley. Good to see you too, as always. So glad. So glad to be here. I'm not much of a holiday person all the way around. Birthdays, all that. Christmas, I don't know. It's just not my thing. But Happy New Year, of course. Trace on the case. You too. We're gonna make this the conviction. The year. Wait. This the conviction year. The year of the convictions. Convictions. Hopefully, hopefully there's more in store. One can pray. Well, we see how that turned out. um, Haley and Ferguson. T.S. Jackson 72. Good to see you. You're a temp greeter. All right, I need to get down there. Hello, Brands. Come here to make me laugh, huh? I'll take it. Hey, Carrie. How's it going, my friend? Moira Sistola. Good to see you too. AJ. Good to see you. Lisa Discovers. Lauren Nelson. Uh, Thank you for the donation. I believe it was you. I don't have, obviously, you guys know I don't have the best of the memory. I'm out of memory in my mind. In my, I'm joking. Usually in my devices, but hey Kim Top, how you doing? Hey Allison Umpleby or Umpleby. How was y'all's New Year? Hi Trinity. I'm glad you found us today. You have at it. Question away. MN, my first time in your live program. Hello from Denver. Well, hello from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Good to have you here. Thank you for being here. Um, hey, Rhonda Shelling Downey. Good to see your face. Well, good. How's everybody's New Year? This is me all the way, Lil Brand. Inappropriately awkward. I can't believe I said that. Yeah, that's me. If it's an awkward moment, which is usually these live streams, they're as many as I've done already over the past, just over the past year, really, a little over a year since I started doing live streams. And I just told Jason, I was like, why do I get nervous? He was like, future tripping. And I was like, yeah, that's it. Nailed it. And it's not really, it's the expectations I have on myself, and I let myself down, that kind of thing. And it's not even like what the goals I have in my mind are not even like, they're normal for what normal people do every day. Um, Anyways, yeah, there's what normal people do, and normal people know this kind of stuff. But to me, I'm just like, it bogs me down. So I don't know. I'll get there. It's me that gets in my own way. Um, a wet New Year's Eve in Tasmania. The biggest lemonade from the crappiest of lemons. Yeah. My recent post from Melanie has been enlightening. You're doing good work. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see. It's all question. Hi, Corky S. If that's the one I was going for. Kathy can read my mind. Thank you. Why didn't Kay? Let's see. Why didn't Kay keep JJ when Lori abound him for months? Depending on. I mean, I don't know what you mean. I mean, my first, how I take the question is basically we couldn't, or my mom, or my dad, or me, nobody, we couldn't just, he was adopted by my uncle, Charles Vallow, and my former aunt, Lori Vallow Daybell. And you can't, I mean, you can, go kidnap a kid or whatever, but it's frowned upon. I mean, hindsight, yes. Oh my God, I'd have kidnapped them myself, or them. I'd have kidnapped them myself. Oh man, but you can't do that. And that was the most frustrating part, was after my uncle was murdered. That you feel so helpless because you want to. My parents went immediately after my uncle was shot and murdered on July 11th, 2019. It was set up. We knew that from the beginning, just that gut instinct. I mean, I don't know. But we didn't hear about it until the next day. So we didn't even know until the 12th of July that he was even dead, period. And my cousin Cole had called my mom, and it was nuts. Yeah, it was just nuts. So if that's what you mean by why didn't Kay keep JJ when Lori abound him for months? Samantha, today, Tom, I was called normal once. I've never been so offended. Amen. True that. Yeah. How can you imagine? Wait, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It jumped. Oh, thank you, Jean. I was looking for your other comment. This one. That was crazy. She just showed up and kept coming back. You know what I picture whenever the reports came out? See, these are just the FOIA. It is a new release. It's the most recent release. But just like with all the other footage we have gotten from out of Arizona, just say Arizona, because we haven't gotten anything from Idaho besides whenever they have that that they played in Chad's preliminary hearing of Lori talking with the police, lying through her damn teeth. But I mean, and we just heard that body cam footage, but everything else has come out of Arizona, and the pattern with them that I see is that they release the reports and then they drop, like all the body cam footage, all the audio, uh, what do you call it? Interviews, like with the Yules. That's Claudia and Brandon Yule. I know there's a lot of Brandons, there's a lot of Melanies. It's crazy, but look at what we're dealing with. There's a lot of core whores. Anywho. Um, and So, yeah, this was a recent FOIA drop. Eric actually, he had to, anyways, I'm just saying, like, Eric, he was able to alert uh, a major news station down there in Arizona. Like, they weren't even aware that it had dropped. So, Eric, Big E, Breaking Crime with Big E, BCBE, he has always provided not only just a trigger warning. First, that's the first thing he hits me with is trigger warning. And they're much appreciated because you don't know what to expect, especially not ever going through this before, you know. But he also provides the documents to me, the videos, the audios, everything. Yeah, he's amazing. He's the big brother I never knew I needed or wanted. Even I don't have any big I don't have any siblings older than me, so it's nice. It's a nice added layer of safety and protection and shielding. So, um, uh, and then the body cam footage that came out of Utah, American Fork, that was all provided and paid for by Jen. Um, she's one of my dearest. Didn't expect for the murders to happen. I definitely didn't expect to make friends, really, really good friends that I consider family. I never expected a community like you, all of you. I never expected all this. This is all just, this is lanyap. Where I come from, we say lanyap, which is something extra. And not extra in a bad way, but just a silver lining. Um, so that was unexpected and unplanned, of course, but appreciated. But anyways, the American Fork body cam footage we have of Melanie Pulowski showing up at her in-laws' house. That 911 call, that had already came out though. The 911 call of Brandon's dad saying, "Get out of my house, get out of my garage." And just alarming, right? I mean, his son had just gotten shot at the month before, and here is his daughter-in-law of 11 years, mother of his 4 grandchildren. She and Brandon share 4 children, and I'm sorry. And I can't imagine the nerve, the nerve, the nerve, the nerve of these people, but Melanie effing Pulowski. Whoa. It's it's frightening. It's scary. And what goes through my mind when I read the reports about the Yules, Brandon and Claudia Yule, they thank you. That's awesome. I appreciate it so much. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The Yules, Brandon and Claudia Yule. What was I gonna say? whenever the reports came out back in, I want to say in October or November of 2021, the reports came out. And I remember reading through their report and what I pictured, and so we have the audio of that now, which I released that early this morning. Anyways, but reading it months and months ago, or a little less than a year ago, I pictured. Have you ever seen that movie Firestarter with Drew Barrymore? And she just stands there and she stares, and then like everything, her hair's blowing and stuff's like blowing up and catching on fire. I'm just like, that's what goes through my mind whenever I picture Melanie Pulowski and Alex freaking Cox parked outside of my damn house. Like I picture her just being all crazy, like psycho crazy. Mm-mm. I can't imagine the fear. And it was very, and I mean, that's not my experience, but just to know there's a cult, you don't know who's in the cult. You know that 3 of your family members are missing. One's murdered already. You can't find your nephew. You can't find my cousin, Tylee. You can't, you don't know what the hell's going on. And it was just a blur and fast. Everything was fast and like a panic. Basically like a fight or flight, except very long, a long period of fight or flight. And it was a whole lot of both and freezing. So, I mean, it's nuts. I remember for the longest time, y'all, I would wake up. I'm not going to say in the morning because my sleep was that's when I just stopped sleeping, like in a normal, I didn't go to bed at night and wake up in the morning. It was more just, ever since then, I just sleep whenever I'm tired and I'm awake whenever I'm not. A lot of times I push more than I should, but something I have to work on. Oh, fire starter, big time. Shit starter comes to mind. That whole thing where she's like, she's talking to the detective Ryan Pilar, who, when I read in the reports, he's back working the beat, I guess you can say. He's back traffic. I don't know what you call it. I'm not a cop. He's patrol again, and I'm like, oh, I really like Ryan Pilar. To me, out of all the interviews, out of everything that we've seen come out of any of this thus far, that one is my favorite. If I had to have a favorite of these crazy effers. I apologize for the effers, but I mean, to me, he just would not let up on her, and I was like, press it. I wish he would have went harder, but that's me. I watched an interview or interrogation. There's a couple of YouTube channels that have like the interrogations of whomever, and it was Trinity. People like Brian David Mitchell. F the F and effers for the effers F you. Saying that in its entirety is really fun. But I can do it real quick. That's probably why I have such a hard time talking, because I'm just like, I'm not able to use all my colorful words. And it is the truth. People were dropping like leaves, flies, whatever. They were gone. And so that's a reality. for me. I can only speak from my experience, right? And, you know, it's very helpless feeling. You want to help, but you don't know how, and you just don't know. You don't even know what's going on to the full extent. You're in it. And so it's crazy. I don't know. I don't have any better words. They're pretty basic whenever I explain these idiots, but um, it's just one day I'll be able to put things into words. Hopefully, maybe not. Maybe crazy's all we got. Brian David Mitchell, that one, yeah, that one. I watched that interrogation a couple times now because he speaks like he's Emmanuel, and he's talking in all these damn, basically what Lori and Chad are doing. I have done, allegedly, whatever. Henzalema, the whole clique. They talk what I saw as riddles. I'm like, what the F are they saying? You know why? Whenever I was going through all this, thank you, Samantha. That's why y'all are here. Y'all can fill in the blanks. That's that for me was the most frustrating part of this entire ordeal was the denial. The whole okay, from what I knew at the time, I know that to be different now, but from what I knew at that time, and from my upbringing, which I come from a Catholic family, whoopity doodah. I mean, I'm not saying none are better than the other, that's for sure. There sure is a whole lot of killing in the name of religion. Just saying. Thank you, AJ. That's very sweet. We hope you did too. And I'm glad you're here. And it's Melanie Gibbs' birthday. Today. What is she, like 800 in this earth life? Thank you, though. And it's my son's birthday also. So he's 23. I had him January 1st, 2000. He was a millennium baby. He was the third baby born. I was told he was going to be a girl, but he was not. And the rest is history. So happy birthday to my baby boy, Zach. I love you. It's never duck. It's never, ever duck or ducking. I hate that. Even when I go to, have you ever just like texted whatever and you just get so far into the word and then you backspace and you're trying to fix it, but then you end up with it even longer of a messed up word and you're like, God dang it, never mind, just forget it. I go through that a lot. Right? I agree, Beach Bum. Oh, salt and vinegar lays. That sucks. FBI agent sent an email to law enforcement and said that MP sorry, I was reading something else because I'm ADHD. So there's your warning if you're new here. And said that MP wanted to talk and that she had a lot of information to share. Yeah, that's what I've been going over in my own mind, because I don't have a simple timeline made up. I forget who, T.S. Jackson. It's something I want to do, just to refer to, because I'm kind of I'm like you, but see, I'm weird. I'm old school, and I print. This is what I do. I print. I keep people employed, and lots of runs. We got a new printer not too long ago, and it likes to eat the ink. I'm like, this is crappy. Don't buy it. If I can even remember what it was, I would tell you not to purchase it. I had really good printers before that. But um, like, I guess my thing is, I come in here just to really do my live streams, or if I'm recording something, which I haven't done in a while. But other than that, I'm in, my room on using my phone or sometimes my tablet. But I normally don't even get on my computer unless it's, and that's really where I see, doing a timeline. It's different on a cell phone. I do everything from a cell phone, and it's my bad. So I got accustomed to it. It's pretty much how I learned everything. Was from my phone. I was so happy when Screen Record came out. I was like, woohoo, they're in trouble now. Because I have got some videos. Because this group, this brood, I mean, they are very good at making not only my family disappear, but information that of podcasts and things that you kind of they Chad and Lori and let's see, Melanie Gibb, all of them. They were all doing these conferences. They were all doing these things together. These there's one with Melanie Gibb, Chad Daybell, and Lori, and they are. I call it because it's gross. Because they pervert and hide behind Jesus, which is so gross. And it's terrifying also. Uh, I don't think you can make a more dangerous person, in my mind, than someone who does these kinds of things in the name of their religion and then hide behind Jesus Christ. That to me is dangerous. That is like, holy shit. That's not just a me problem. That's not just a my family problem. That's all of our problem. They are our problem. This is a problem. And that's where I can't sound the bells loud. I can't scream loud enough. Hey, Donna. Good to see you here. Hmm, I don't know. Have you tried the printers where you and whichever ink is low? And no, I don't even think this one does that. I don't know. I don't like it though. I don't like it. I like my HP. Thank you, Peach Bomb. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. But yeah, I have had the feeling. I've been just kind of nudging that towards Jason. I'm like, because that's who I talk to all the time. Poor thing. But he knows this inside and out just like I do. He lets me just do my thing and grieve in my own way, and he supports me through that. And I couldn't ask for anyone better. And then I also feel bad for him because it's just constant, for this many years straight. He's probably like, oh my God, but life will never be normal anyway. So, or back to where it was before. So there's that. Um, I don't even think about, I've actually tried to think about what life was like before the murders. And I used to look at like Pinterest and, ooh, that looks fun to make and build and paint. And I used to do that kind of stuff and sell the things I made. And that is long behind me. So my new way to, I guess, express myself or be artistic is to play in, it used to be Adobe. Now it's my Canva app. I love my Canva app. I just go and design things, but it keeps me immobile. So, anyways, but yeah, I've been asking Jason. I'm like, there's FBI. There's something with the FBI because this is like interstate. There's 4 states involved. There's Arizona, Texas. My uncle had moved to Texas. I don't know how much of that is there, but there's Hawaii, there's Utah, and there's Idaho. And then there's Colombia and Chile and Mexico. Uh, Alex Cox drove down to Mexico a couple days before he died. Uh, they were movers and shakers. Don't think they got around, portal or not. They got around in more ways than one, right? Am I right? Am I right? So, anyways, it was very terrifying. I know that whenever a vehicle would pass by slow, if I was outside and I saw somebody moving real slow, I don't know why it would catch my attention, probably because I was on high alert at all times. You go into like this always high awareness, it's the PTSD. It's except you're in it. I don't know how else to explain that. And it's basically how I was before, with my anxiety, severe anxiety disorder. I've had that since I was 15, so I'm always hyper aware anyways. But then there's this on top of that, and it really it messes with your mind. It messes with my sleep, my memory, my all kinds of things. Anxiety is not good. And being scared and having that fear that somebody's just going to shoot at you, hypervigilance. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's just you're always ready for fight or flight. Right, man, all the time, constant. And so, oh, in California too. Yeah, Gene. Yep, I forgot about that. It's interstate, and so then with the FBI, there's already Lori, collecting Social Security benefits and um, just all these things. And that has to do with the federal government. And she's indicted with that in Idaho. I don't know how it works. I've been like trying to delve into that, but I mean, then I spend so much time just on making a thumbnail for every week. I just I'm like, I start from scratch and I'm just like, what? I don't just, I just feel so basic if I just throw a picture, because I don't know, because I'm extra. So thank you, Trinity, for signing the petition. Share it out with everybody, anybody and everybody. Appreciate it. I am too, AJ. Hyper sensitive, big time. I didn't know all these things about myself until all this happened, and I did my research. I went on into the internet. I googled that up, like Mike Stroud says. Speaking of Mike Stroud. So yeah. Anyways, I feel like the federal government. I mean, like whenever the defense, whenever Chad and Lori's defense, mainly John Pryor, really come hard at the prosecution, like, we've asked for this, you haven't given us this yet. Why? Where's it at? And they're like, yes, we gave it to you last night, whatever it is. I just hope they're not playing games like prosecution. It is what it is, let the jerks have it. If you're holding, I don't know. I know it's like a chess game, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about because I'm not an attorney. I've never been one. Don't really want to be. No, I think it's interesting, but it's not. That's above my pay grade. And so I wonder if technically, because with what I've learned through this experience or whatever, with all the people around Chad and Lori, they're very literal people. And I mean, a lot of people can be like that. as a matter of fact, I remember whenever Mom had told me that JJ was autistic, um, I didn't know what that was. I was just like, oh, okay. What is that? And she was like, so they tend to take things literally. Like if you say it's raining cats and dogs, then they really think that it's raining cats and dogs. And so, I mean, that's always revert back to that little thing. And I don't know if I've done more research into it since I found out that JJ had been diagnosed with autism, because I was like, well, maybe that would, maybe it runs in the family. Maybe I have it, because I didn't even know I had ADD or ADHD until my children were diagnosed with it. And then I was like, hmm. And that's whenever I talked to my doctor about it and my counselor, between the both of them. And yeah, I got diagnosed as an adult. So I've always just had to mask it, or I had learned to mask it. And so all those things, um, and then it complicates it more with the post-traumatic stress, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and just the whole totality of this case. I mean, the ripple effect, it goes far and it affects every person it touches, from the clerk, from the court clerk. Um, they're going to have to see and hear a lot of crazy stuff, and I'm sure they've heard and seen a lot of crazy stuff prior to this. Can you even imagine? Um, Trauma is real. It's real, and it's you never know what the next person is dealing with. So definitely don't want anybody to find out this way. However, you know. But yeah, so I feel like there are, and I have felt like there are, yeah, Irene, I get it. I was like, that explains a lot. Same thing with the autism thing. I've taken like 6 or 7 of those tests where you just answer questions and whatever. They have different scoring systems everywhere. Just over the past, JJ would be 10. He was probably about school age, 4 or 5, when diagnosed. Um, so about 7 years ago. And, so over the years I've taken that, and clown face syndrome. Oh, okay. Interesting. Hey, Crochet and Bammy. You lurking. Lurk. It's okay. You can lurk. We welcome lurkers. As long as you're not trolling, we have some on lurkers. Yeah, they didn't know much at all about ADHD when I was growing up. I remember a few kids. I'm 44 and a half. And I mean, there were a few kids, that I went to school with, and I was like, oh, wow, he's got a lot of energy. But I did too at times. Just mine's more in my brain. Like, if I went as fast as my brain did, I would look like JJ did when he was here. A lot of pictures we have are a blur. It's just a blur because he's just always moving. And that's why, they got, or Uncle Charles, I know for sure, saw to it that JJ had gotten Bailey. Bailey was the service dog, the Labradoodle, and it helped JJ to sleep at night. It's so sad. I think about where Bailey is these days. I'm like, oh, just Lori is a effing terrorist. That's all. That's all. There should be federal charges all up on her, because I mean, she is a damn terrorist. Character assassination, big time. I've been working on a video because I have a thing where my phone's in my pocket. A thing. Yeah. That is true, Senga. That's my plans, or part of them. That's part of my plan, or that I can see now is very unique position to, just to have to even, yeah, to experience, period. It's very, um, it's different, that's for sure. There's a whole lot of things to talk about. Um, it should never get old. This thing has just, for me at least, and I'm sure you guys see all the things where there's so many things that failed, so many things that it's kind of, I'm gonna use Zalema's analogy about um, when Ray Hermosillo and them asked, I'm sure you get tired of seeing us, and she's like, well, it's like an algae eater or whatever she said, in a fish aquarium, and they just, you disturb the rocks and all the algae, all that shit comes up. So that's a good analogy for this. That's the only time, you know, because it just made a lot of issues that go overlooked. It brought them out, unfortunately, but fortunately, you know what I'm saying? It costed lives, and it did destroy families. It did destroy everything in its wake, but there's a lot to learn from this. There's a lot to glean. There's a lot to do. There's so much work to do. It's not even funny. So, one of the things that I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, I don't know if it's a gift, I don't know if it's not a gift, but one of the things, and I know that a lot of people have where they can pick up patterns, well, mine has been by researching and investigating, I guess you can say, Mormonism, because they were talking in what I consider to be code talk. To me, it was code talk because where I come from, we don't talk like that. We don't we don't talk like that. I don't know how to explain it besides just different. I'm from the South. They're from, I don't know. I have no idea. I have nothing to compare it to besides, or aside from Lori and Chad and this situation, this experience, right? And so it frustrated me so much that whenever I saw Lori walk into the courtroom via the TV, that's important here because had none of that, had none of those hearings been provided on Zoom and set to public, I couldn't afford to be there. Jason was having a thoracotomy done. He had just had a thoracotomy, and then coronavirus came out right at the same time that Lori was extradited from Hawaii to Rexburg. There is no way. I mean, I had that and 4 kids at home, and I couldn't be there. I couldn't be there. I wanted to be there. Trust me, I wanted to be there. I want to be there now. I just want to go stare at her damn whatever. You know what I mean? I just want her to feel my presence. But, and I mean, that was devastating. That was devastating for me to not be able to be there. Nobody, unless you're a damn millionaire or you have frequent flyer miles or whatever, or if you, I don't know, not me. I can't afford it. Um, it's not written into my budget. Um, to be able to go back and forth to Rexburg and or um, Ada County, Boise, um, that costs a lot of money, and that's what it all boils down to is money. It it always goes back to the money, you know. So I just wanted to make that a point, that had I not seen Lori walk into the courtroom, not the first time, because the first time she appeared in the courtroom was in Hawaii, but my mom and my dad were sitting there. Brandon was there my cousins, Cole and Zach, and Colby and Kelsey. Everybody was there except for me, and the rest of our family. But I saw that via Zoom. Hallelujah, right? So that's one point I was making while I was trying to make another point. So it kept me connected. And that's when I saw Lori go walk in with her shoulders back and her freaking nose just, I mean, I was just like, what the is wrong with this match? What is wrong with her? Who is that? Who the hell is that? Like, I disconnected, because I didn't know who the hell that is. I don't know who that is. I know who she was to me, how she let herself appear to be to me, but I didn't know who the hell that was. That was a stranger. And so my Aunt Lori died. That's basically how this kind of works for me, or how I'm able to kind of, I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. Is the person that I knew as my Aunt Lori, who adopted my nephew, who murdered my uncle, my step cousin Tylee, and my only nephew. I'm not an aunt anymore. JJ. That's who that is. And so for her to walk in so snooty, and I was like, I mean, everything was just going off. And I was like, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't work in that field, but I'll say it time and time again from this. I'm not an idiot either. I know what I see. I'm not diagnosing her. This is what I saw, and what I see, what I'm hearing, with the severity of the situation, they don't add up. And they're all about Jesus, right? And I'm just like, wait, hold up. This doesn't match. What's wrong? There's something more. There's something way more into this. So, don't be sorry for cussing. It's just, so that is why I'm here. I've been on this just incredible, deep, even soul searching for me, researching, finding out why is she being like that? And I mean, here we are 4 years later, and I have a really good idea. And it's a lot deeper than what we've heard. But, I don't know who's all going to go for this. But it's the real story. It's not Lori or Chad's story, or none of the people surrounding them. This is Tylee, Charles, JJ, Tammy, and Joe's real story. It's their voices that are coming out in this. They're doing the talking. It's telling their stories. And that's what I've vowed. That's what I signed on to do, to make sure that everyone who has blood on their hands would be held accountable. That's all. Just own up. Anyways, they didn't have a choice. They didn't get to say, oh no, wait, Mom, we don't want to be murdered today. Can you wait till after my play date, or after I get into college, Mom? They didn't have that luxury. So anyways, and then so you dive into all this, and I mean, just from researching how all the stuff about her and Joe and their custody battle, I mean, I didn't know any of that. I didn't. I do now. And I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have never known. Because it's gross. And that's the whole parental alienation. That's the character assassination that you will see time and time and time. It's happening now. It's happening again right now. Every 2 seconds it's happening. Character assassination. You see it in Melanie Pulowski. You see it in Zalima, Melanie Gibb, every person surrounding those people, close, and Janice, Summer, everybody surrounding these people have the same pattern. So, what do they have in common? Is what I kept asking myself. I'm just like, what do they have in common? Because I'm like, that's a learned behavior. I'm not a psychiatrist. This is just my opinion. I am saying that from what I saw, from what I hear, from what I'm reading, compared to the severity of the situation, no, they don't match. So I had to find out where it came from. Where is it coming from? And how the hell do we stop it? Or, yeah, ego. You win. Bing, 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 bing. Ego. It's all ego. And it's frightening. I've always said, what about the rest of them? And I'm not saying that, who knows? I see what the fruits of that turned out to be. You will know them by their fruits. And yeah, you will. But anyway, so I studied, I researched, and I still do. I don't think I'll ever stop. I can't just back out of this now. I can't unlearn or unsee or familiarize myself with Mormonism, and I take it seriously. I take it to heart, and I do this because I love my family that was murdered, and I have the right to find answers because God knows nobody was just like, oh, nobody stepped up to the plate and just did things because that was the right thing to do, because they had integrity. And no, Melanie Gibb, oh, I did it to clear my name. Girl, you better try a little harder because you suck. You failed at that, my and she didn't do it for the kids. She didn't do it for Charles. She didn't do it for Tammy. She didn't do it for anybody except herself. That's it. David himself. It's all ego. Every last one of them. And there's more. That's the frightening thing. That's where I'm just like, mm-mm. I've even got where, all these articles that I've read over this time, like, his name is Christopher Blythe, and he is a big time researcher. I forget his title. Don't know things verbatim. It's a lot of information to cram and recall on like that. But he's on the church's payroll. So he wrote about his opinion on Chad and Lori and their 7 missions. And I took that for what it, for face value when it came out. And now I'm like, nope, that's not right. That is not your false. That's not right. They're scholars and they don't even know. And I'm just like, holy shit. What do you do? Who's going to believe me? A never Mormon, a never Mo, I'm not out to exploit, or it's just to do the right thing and choose the victims, put human life over an institution. I'll do it every day, all day on Sundays. It's the right thing to do. I mean, it's not my fault, you know. But anyways, I know that people are very protective of what they believe in and what they have known to believe in their entire life. And I take that very seriously. At the same time, this is my life, and they effed with the wrong bitch. That's me. No, um, no, because I mean I know for sure Patrick Mason, another. There's this. I watch Mormon discussions all the time. I watch Mormon Stories podcasts all the time. A couple times, some of them I've watched over and over again. Because what I know now compared to what I knew then, they're two different things. You know, I'm just like, holy crap, I did not even catch that, you know, then because I didn't know what I know now. And it's just more and more and more and more. And it's really sad. It doesn't make me feel good. And it validates so many of my basic right off the cuff, you know, my first instincts. I'm just like, no, 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 no. Please don't let it be that. Please, I don't care to be right or wrong at all. That's not my thing. I really don't care. But it's just being honest. That's all. And anyways, so yeah, Bill Real and Radio Free Mormon. I love those guys. They have gotten me through a lot of this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have to back away from that bubble a lot of times because I'm like, it's like I end up kind of closed minded and I think, oh my God, this is the whole world. And then I back away and, you know, just kind of step away from the project. I had a teacher that used to say that, but, and you just kind of look at it in its totality and you're like, well, it's only, you know, whatever percent of the whole human population. So it's not, but it is very concentrated and very influenced in all the areas where the adjudication process is taking place. This has worried me from the beginning. Didn't know what it was, knew it was something that I was just like, it's like I felt like I had to know for myself, find out for myself. I didn't want anybody else just telling me their narrative of or their experience growing up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Or they just couldn't answer all my questions because there's more. There's more. I have more. But there's a pattern with all the people, all the way beginning with Joseph Smith. And so I want to play some of that for y'all and see what you think because it's pretty intense, in my opinion. Thank you. Hit the thumbs up, just me. Thank you. Okay, so oh. Okay, let's see. Play it on my speaker. Turn it on. That would help, huh?
Battery 80%.
I don't know
Connected
why.
to PLSSED.
No. How about those? Okay. So anyways, yeah, Patrick Mason, he's also somebody that
and fresh as I found
works. If their check is signed by the church, I don't want to hear it. Mainstream, that word bothers me now. Ever since I figured out that mainstream is different for everybody. You know, what's your definition of mainstream? That's one way to jump in front of that. because it's not the same for me. So this is from Mormon Foundation. And so I've been taking clips and just, kind of matching the patterns together, right? And so I'm going to do my best to bring this research to life, to have the victims' the voices be heard, their stories be told, because this is the truth. There is no cult of Lori and Chad. However, if you have to have labels, labels don't do any good, really. I came from really no labels, and then all these labels. And I'm like, what is a progressive? What's Orthodox? What? I've had to ask my mom a long time ago. I'm not in my adult life. I was like, are we Democrat or are we Republican? I didn't know. I didn't. I didn't know. I never had to just deal with it. I never was passionate about it. Anyways, it just wasn't my thing, still not, but you kind of have to know the politic and you have to know so much with this case, or I feel I had to. So that's for me. But anyways, so this is a former CES church education system teacher and a former member. He was a convert to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints until he wasn't. So he's an ex-Mormon. I don't really know his name, but again, it's in my app, so I'm gonna play it. Tell me if you can hit the similarities, or if I'm off. Let me know if I'm off. I really need, that's important. In the official church. Well, God dang it. What was the point? I had it hooked up. Oh. Okay. That's from my room. That's okay.
Connected to PLESSED and precious I found.
There you go. Okay. In the official mother cracker. She's lying. In the official, whatever. We're gonna play it from my phone. In the official church curriculum, that's a continued cover-up. In the church education professional development program that I participated in, we were told that doctrine is anything that is in a church publication that the church has published, except for the church magazines. And I mean, you have to really be able to listen. And I mean, I do. I'm just like, oh, you really have to listen to what they're saying. Because it's in the beginning, it was just blah, blah, blah. It sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher, not in a bad way, just because I didn't know the language. I didn't know Mormon speak. I know now. So that they can have plausible deniability. That means Talmage is Jesus the Christ, which the church published in 1915 first, is considered doctrine, but something published by Bookcraft or Deseret Book or some other publisher is not. You may consider that to be the general authority's own opinions. And the general authorities are, I mean, just the way the church is set up. I've had people in my comments say, who's I've never heard of that president before. And I'm thinking, exactly. I didn't hear of a president other than the ones who presided over the United States of America. Okay. Yeah. So it was just a culture shock for me. It's very interesting, for sure. Again, Sangha, it's very unique. Very unique. I don't know if I had to put a title on what I know, or whatever I research. I don't know. Besides that, I'm translated. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining, right? Told to use that as a guide because we were supposed to be the doctrinal
conveyors of truth to the students.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I see. This is why I don't need to do these. CES, Church Education System, because there's something more to this, and I'm still on that hunt. So I don't quite know what it is. All I can do is just pick up the patterns. That's a whole nother pattern that's bigger. It's really big, and it goes all the way to the top. And if you know what I mean, and I hate doing that, I can't just come out with accusations like that until I'm more sure. And more sure means kind of like Mormon, means more good, more sure word of prophecy. It's Mormon speak. So when I say more sure, I say these things and they make no sense to nobody. Thank you, Beach Bum. Appreciate it. So I'm gonna try not to interrupt, but the CES is Church Education System. Mike Stroud taught for the church education system for 28 years. He retired in 2006. Robert Norman, y'all seen, or I've done a couple of videos. Well, I've talked about it in my live streams for sure, and I've done a video on it where Mormon Stories podcast they talked about Robert Norman. You know, to me, it matches the pattern exactly. It's, if you didn't know, when I shared it with Kathy, she was like, "That's about Chad and Lori, right?" And I was like, "No, that's not." I played it for her because I was just like, "I need some money," and because I want to make sure I'm not off. I like to check myself a bunch of times, because it's very important. This is big, really big, and it's really dirty, and it's really gross. And I would want to hide it too if I was doing some shameful shit like this. That's all I'm saying. I would stop at nothing. I would navigate and control and intervene as much as possible to try and distance myself from the trashy, nasty shit that comes out of this, that came out of this, that's coming out of this, that has not stopped because they silenced the victims, and I'll be damned. They messed with the wrong bitch. Again. Anyways.
To be the doctrinal conveyors of truth to the students. And so Joseph Fielding Smith said about the official church history, the most important history in the world is the history of our church. And it is the most accurate history in the world. However, the official history leaves out some important aspects of Smith's personality.
Here we go.
He did not adhere to the word of wisdom. He was a serial adulterer.
We said nothing?
No comments.
Where are your kids?
No comments.
He bedded girls as young as 14.
I have nothing for that yet.
He used character assassination when his embarrassing behavior was revealed.
He's been telling me all these texts like, "You're going down, blah, 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 blah." He's blaming me for our marriage breaking up and my niece getting divorced and my friend getting divorced. He said, "I'm a destroyer of families."
Amongst those.
He used character assassination when his embarrassing behavior was revealed.
It's all about JJ. He's never about Tylee, but he's all about JJ. Because we adopted him together.
He used character assassination.
I repeat, I can go on and on.
When his embarrassing behavior was revealed.
It's all these threats on my phone all the time, like whatever, all these things. And then he told me, what kind of threats? Just
General, broad, just like Melanie Pulowski. Brandon's doing drugs, and his family, and their drugs. What kind of drugs? Oh, I don't know. I'm not a drug person, she said. They go general because they have nothing, because they're assassinating the character. Look at Joe. Look at Joe. But look at the text messages. Look,
just you'd have to read them to me, but he's always mad at me, right? And doesn't want a divorce, but I don't like him and don't want to deal with him, so that's just how it is. Like, so we married for 14 years, we dealt with it for 14 years, and him being horrible to her. Like, he gets in huge fights with her, a lot of things. But anyway, so he said, I'm coming Wednesday night, all of a sudden. I want to see JJ. I told him, I said, I will never keep JJ from you. You can come see whenever you want to.
That's what Uncle Charles told her. He wouldn't keep her from JJ. But this part is interesting. Right, Gary. Because it's like when you listen to these things, especially and you edit like I do, you pick up on these things and you're just like, God, they tell on themselves so much. They can't help themselves. Chad, well, Tammy's health was failing. He interjected. Melanie Gibb wasn't even asking his nothing about him. That's that's from his preliminary hearing, secret recording from Melanie Gibb, but that's a whole nother story.
So we married for 14 years, we dealt with it for 14 years, and him being horrible to her. Like, he gets in huge fights with her, a lot of things. But anyway, so he said, I'm coming Wednesday night, all of a sudden. I want to see JJ. I told him, I said, I will never keep JJ from you. You can come see whenever you want to, come take him to school, whatever. Like, I'm not going to do that. So he lived here for a long time. Okay. And then he moved us to Houston. Okay. And we were there with my son. He was out of school. He didn't have any of his, services, his DDD, his anything. He, ripped him out of school and said, we're moving. Okay. And I didn't go with him at first. And he took him. And I let him take him. And I didn't file anything or whatever. And then he filed something against me and said, I'm only going to get supervised visits because I'm crazy and blah, blah, blah. The story.
How many times have we heard from Melanie Pulaski? Her, what do you call that? I had it, but then who Melanie Pulaski looks up to as her mother. Lori looks at Melanie Pulaski and even claims to have grandchildren. At that point in time, Lori only had Riley, her granddaughter, Colby and Kelsey's little girl. She was, anyways, but in the text and stuff, she lets that out and she's like, I'm gonna have to leave my baby and her babies. What are you talking about? First off, anyways, they're just very self-appointing, but then they're not because they're taught this. They, in my opinion, I'll give you my opinion at the end of this.
Blah, 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 the story. And so I just didn't talk to him for 30 days and let him take care of him.
Because that's another form of narcissism. That's another form of the silent treatment. That is what we get. That's what we have gotten from Lori and crew since this spun off, is silence. Silence is deafening. Silence is also abuse. Omission, all that, them not talking, all that good stuff. Yeah. I'm going to put this up so I can have me a cigarette while we listen to this hooker. Because this is something I want to show y'all. Because this is, I'll just tease y'all with that.
See what I've been doing for the past 7 years. Because men need to do that. I have 5 kids. I have grandkids. I have grandkids. Okay, you're going to threaten me that you're not going to let me see my child without supervised visitation? Okay, do it for 30 days and see how long it lasts.
He did it for 58 days. And then she still wouldn't come, see JJ right away. She had somewhere to go with I think her man friend, Chad. So I'll try to stop stopping.
I need to come pick him up. Yeah, but she did. She's like, come back and whatever. So I moved in with them to Houston for the family, and Tylee went with me. We drove to Houston from here.
Oh, and moving? Moving is one thing, but I don't consider what her definition of moving and my definition of moving are two totally different definitions of moving. She just went there to go get Charles's financials in order, his finances in order. That's what she told Melanie Gibb. Not just swinging pillow to post. because she's a hooker, allegedly.
To Houston from here.
He used character assassination when his embarrassing behavior was revealed.
Left all our family and all his support, all my son's support, like his cousins, everything. And we were there. I enrolled him in school there. I tried to start all his services, and it takes forever.
Yeah.
You know, it takes so long to get that done.
There's no easy transfer.
There's no easy transfer.
You start from the beginning.
It's a totally new thing.
He used character assassination when his embarrassing behavior was revealed.
And he didn't do any of it in those 30 days. So he just had gone without services, without even applying. And I'm like, do you even realize? Because he would never do it. And that's why I did it.
Because she was a damn housewife and she didn't have a damn job. So, in my opinion, that was her job. It's called being a mother. It's called being a parent. Anyways, it's it missed her. I mean, I could go on and on and on with the character assassination.
He used character assassination
I was like,
when his embarrassing behavior was revealed.
how many times can I repeat this? And that's a hypothetical question or rhetorical question. I already know the answer to it. So then, you know, I'm thinking of all the ways that she uses character assassination.
I had been married to
And y'all have heard
someone
this
who
one.
was very awful, who raped my children. And I had divorced him and gotten away from him. And he had joined the church. He spoke in a state conference. Everyone thought he was wonderful. He was very good showman of all those things. And after we were divorced, he told everybody that I was this lying, crazy Mormon and got up in court and said all these horrible things about me and turned it around to where the judges believed him instead of me. And he was constantly trying to get custody of my 3-year-old daughter and just to rub it in my face. And I went through a lot of years of this kind of hard stuff. And I was going to murder him. I was going to kill him, like the scriptures say, like if I killed him, just to stop the pain and to stop him coming after me and to stop him coming after my children. And I just thought I couldn't take it anymore. And I would go through the scriptures and find all the things like, if he comes against you once, if he comes against you twice, if he comes against you 3 times, then you can kill him. It says it in the scriptures. It's Mormon.
And it does say it in the scriptures, and that's what they know. I mean, I'm gonna stop it there because y'all have heard all that. You know, y'all have heard all this before. It's just interesting to put it into perspective. And then
He used character assassination when his embarrassing behavior was revealed.
Was she doing something? Like, was she trying to come get him or something? Or, like, trying to kidnap him?
Well, she's said that lots of times before.
Okay, well, you know, when I asked Chad the other day, I was like, you know, where is JJ? And he said, for my security, he didn't want me to know. So is there a reason I should be in danger to know where he is?
No, it's nobody. It's his danger. It's the danger that there's people after me.
Okay.
So
if you know, that puts you in a danger.
well, just in a bad position.
Yeah, bad position.
Everybody, if they don't know anything, then they don't have to say they know.
Right, so you're just worried. Okay.
I'm just to keep him protected
And keep you protected.
and keep everybody else good.
I appreciate that.
He used character assassination when his embarrassing behavior was revealed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ridiculous thing for them to be working with Kay to find me. There's nothing that's going on that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're working with her in some dark capacity. The police are working with her in some dark capacity. There's no reason for them to be after me in the first place.
Now, has she threatened you at all?
Yes, lots of times.
Oh, God. Like, what did she say?
Well, it's in emails and everything. So.
again, there's that whole broad, general thing that her and Melanie Plausible do. It's a learned behavior. Don't think that. I mean, it's a pattern, and I see it with all of them, not just these not just these, Chad, Lori, and Melanie Gibb. No, it's all of them.
And emails and everything.
So, like, she said she was going to come take them, or she was...
There's a lot of things, Nellie.
I know it sounds like it. I'm just worried for you guys because, he's missing, and,
I know exactly where he is. He's perfectly fine and healthy.
Okay, well, I hope so.
He used character assassination when his embarrassing behavior was revealed, and his prophecies did not come through.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, and so I was going to put Chad right there, I put a picture of him right there. And then it goes on.
They were retroactively reworked to make them look as if they had come true, or simply not included. Brigham Young was determined to paint those who challenged Smith's authority as traitors and liars.
And so the whole thing of having to learn more about Mormonism was I didn't want to. There's no part of me that was like, oh yeah, I got to learn me some Mormonism now. Oh yeah, got to know the history. No, that's something that I do because I love my family. I love the victims. Tylee, Charles, and JJ, they're my family. I do this for them. It's like I'm able to put that and say that's the least I can do is just to find out their stories, to find out the true story, the real story. And so I don't know how they're going to perpetuate this in court, given the dynamics of everything. And yeah, I often am like, how are they going to spin that without implicating themselves, the prosecution. Rob Wood was a bishop. I doubt he still is, but I mean, it's nothing personal. It's just, it makes all the sense in the world to me. And I'm all about making sense and just, I don't know, to me, it's very validating. It matches up exactly spot on for what I see, what I hear, and for the severity of the situation.
So the church curriculum and church histories reflect that also. 60% of the history was written after Smith's death, but made to sound like he wrote it from his own journal.
And so the importance of that is that the whole thing about Brigham, there's all kinds of different camps. That's why, in my opinion, that's why there are so many splinter groups coming from Mormonism alone. It blows my mind. And the first cult leader, I guess you can say, or cult group that I researched was the LeBarons. What do you think they broke off from mainstream? I'm using that very loosely. What do you think they were going to do? What made them stray from the mainstream LDS church? One guess. It's called the Church of the Firstborn. It's these mysteries that are going to continue. It's going to continue producing this product. And that is scary to me because Tylee and JJ they're not the first kids. And Uncle Charles, Tammy, JJ, Joe, Tylee, they're not the first victims and they're not the last. Chad and Lori aren't the first Mormons. They're not the last. They are disciples. They believe in the prophet. They endorse the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They were active members at the time of the murders. That didn't even matter to me. Still doesn't, but it matters to members of the church. That's very literal. They're like, oh, Mike Stroud, he was excommunicated on February 13th, 2019. Damage was done. And I mean, it doesn't mean they shut up. Julie wrote. She wasn't excommunicated until April 20th of 2019. Eric Smith, June 2nd, 2019. And the church only puts this stuff out. If like the only reason, and I've read this, the only way they make excommunications public, like it was leaked, wink, wink, and to Court TV for Chad's excommunication, that I guess they got the dates wrong because they put that he was excommunicated. I forget the date, but it was a couple months just before his preliminary hearing. It was, the kids were murdered in September of 2019. The damage was done. It was done. And anyways, I'm gonna get there. But the whole Brigham Young, there's two different camps. Actually, there's more camps, but this is the only way I can really explain it. There's people who, if you're Mormon, or from my understanding, when you're a Mormon, you believe in Joseph Smith. He was the prophet, seer, revelator here on earth. He's the mouthpiece. God speaks through him and to the member of the church, an active member at that. An active member, you have to be up to date on your tithing. This is the law of tithing. It's very important. They even call it fire insurance. It's a corporation, which has me questioning some other things, like when a corporation, incorporation, and I don't know the difference. So please, help me understand this. How do they get away with the whole First Amendment thing, like practicing how do they get the tax breaks? How do they get to not be held accountable and responsible and liable? But then they do, because I've seen where Boy Scouts of America, all these accounts of protecting the bishops, protecting members of the church who go and commit SA. That big story came out from Associated Press. I was like, oh, not that I wanted to hear it. It was not a good story. It's not a good story. But it really, I was like, oh, good, because I have something to apply this to, the whole IDHW thing. I don't even, like I said, if you look at how Julie Rowe interjected herself, I kind of see the church, maybe, perhaps, allegedly, in my opinion, might have swayed and somehow made that happen, where Lori allegedly was at the spa, and she sees Chad in court, and her homework is to, go and get you another lawyer, girl. And then she allegedly had to tell the worker or whatever for the Department of Health and Welfare when she completed her assignment. First, that stinks. It stinks to the celestial champagne room for sure. I don't know, and there's no way to prove it, but it stunk whenever it happened. I was like, you don't just call Curtin McConkie. You don't just call and talk to Curtin McConkie, or Daniel McConkie. I'm sorry. You don't know. And that's the church's, like corporate lawyers. That don't happen. So you're telling me that Lori had a homework assignment to go and fetch her another lawyer. She calls and she's like, beep boop boop beep boop boop boop. and in my opinion, this is how I see it going down. Allegedly, this is my theory. Only, not accusing. Got to protect yourself, right? I see. This is what goes through my mind, is that she called the 1-800 helpline number that's designated for people like, you know, in that Associated Press story that came out about the sexual abuse. I forget her name was MJ. That's what she went by. And her dad was something Adams, Paul Adams, I think. Anyway, he undied himself. So he never did have to face anything. But allegedly the church protected him, yada, yada, yada. That's what the helpline is kind of, in my opinion, implicated for. That's why it's there. It's to an outsider like myself before this. It looks like, oh, wow, they're doing a nice thing. They're, that's really good. They can help people, help victims, right? In my opinion, that's how they silence them. They just, they cut to the chase, pay them off, and then it would have to, and it was a story on Vice, and the victims sign a non-disclosure agreement whenever they accept the settlement, and it silences the victims, and that is gross. But then I see Lori, this is how I picture it, just my running theory here, but I see her calling the 1-800 helpline, and somebody being like, 1-800 helpline, may I help you? And she's like, oh yes, my name is Lori Daybell. And they're like, beep, and they patch her right on through to Daniel McConkey. This is my theory. I've shared it before. But, and then, so he answers the phone, and that is how the lawyers, the alleged lawyers for the alleged church, I don't know how to protect myself any more than this right now, are able to interject themselves and then therefore silence people, make them look crazy, because everything that Lori is saying is freaking crazy. It makes all the sense in the world to me. I'm sorry. I'm at the point, and I've been at the point where you'd have to convince me that didn't happen, because I'm just like, So it's gross, if so, and it just goes to show you the level and the power and the influence that just one institution has on my family's justice, my mom and my dad's justice, everybody depending on the judicial system to give Chad and Lori a fair and impartial trial, so I don't have to continue to do this shit for the rest of my life. I already know it's going to be a big thing without a church, without an alleged church or alleged incorporation trying to navigate every, So anyways, to me, that just stinks big time. And it just was very convenient and very crafty. So what else? I hate to even ask that. But so that's my running theory. No accusations, just my own opinions that I'm entitled to, allegedly. It's scary. It scares the shit out of me, especially when I found that Jesus card in the middle of my living room floor. I don't underestimate anybody. And I could be dealt with and silenced just like my uncle was. Just like those kids were. Just like Lori is being silenced now, in my opinion. because I feel like from what I've studied, what I've researched, it fits perfectly with everything that we know, everything that we've heard. She was a god, exalted, here to usher in the new millennium. I even know where they got there, July 22nd. The earth wasn't going to end. The world wasn't going to end that day. I mean, it's not just them that have these alleged beliefs. Chad didn't make this up. They still did what they did. I'm not saying that anybody else is directly involved with, harming these victims, hurting, killing, murdering these victims. And very much so affecting my life. Since July 11th, 2019, since the murder happened of my uncle. So again, they still messed with the wrong branch. That's me. I may be little, but right is right. Slow and steady wins the race. I just wanted to be as quiet as I can. I still want to be as quiet as I can, but as loud as I can. I want to be effective. Everybody should be aware of this. And there's so much more. I have so many more. I can't even keep them all together.
From his own journal accounts.
I didn't even tell y'all about Brigham Young. But anyways, it's neither here nor there.
The extermination order. What a lot of people don't realize, it was first threatened by the Latter-day Saints 3 months before the extermination was ordered by Governor Lilburn W. Boggs. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying you ought to see both sides. Section 98 of the Doctrine and Covenants is basically a law of retaliation, where God gives you permission to go hunt down and kill your enemies after the third offense.
After the third offense. If he comes at you once, if he comes at you twice, if he comes at you 3, it says it right here in the scriptures. And then there's so many other justifications, scripture usage. And then what pisses me off the most is the deniability, the plausible deniability that I've gotten from the very beginning over, and I still get it. I'll never stop getting it. Whatever, to each their own, right? But I know better. And so I don't know, Trace. We will know. I know for sure. Yeah. I don't want to sidetrack on that right now, but yes, definitely. It's to me, it's scary. To me, it interferes directly with this being a just fair and impartial my family's justice rides on this. It doesn't vindicate, it doesn't bring them back to life, it doesn't do any of that. Me researching into this does not bring them back, but I want to stop or prevent, whistleblow, whatever it is that I have to do, so that it will not, what you allow is what will continue. And it obviously is really working, because it's happened from the beginning of time. But oh man, it's again, it's egotistical, narcissistic, abusive behavior hiding behind the guise of Jesus Christ, who, where I come from, You got some balls, is all I'm saying. You got some big old balls. But then again, I'm not brought up where I know that I become a god one day. I become exalted, like I believe Chad and Lori were told completely. Anyways. All right, so it went in, the Boggs extermination order. Check it out, though.
Enemies after the third offense.
Had something that you knew was the right thing to do, but it turns out that later on it was a felony. This is a true story. I found out my ex-brother-in-law was a pedophile, so I took a stun gun and I discharged it right in his nutsack.
Lie.
And in Texas, that's a felony. I'm thinking, maybe I'll get a handshake or a parade or something. I got probation.
There's a little more about the extermination order. This is what Sidney Rigdon said in his famous 4th of July speech. And that mob that comes on us to disturb us, it shall be between us and them a war of extermination. For we will follow them until the last drop of their blood is spilled, or else they will have to exterminate us. For we will carry the seed of war to their own houses and their own families, and one party or the other shall be utterly destroyed.
Oh, okay. And then, whoa. What the heck? Oh, I know. Turn it off. Oop, oop. Okay. Sorry.
Smith approved of the speech, and it was printed in the Far West Weekly newspaper and the church's Elders Journal.
So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
Threatened they
Thank
murder
you, Sandy.
me, kill me.
She threatened to murder you?
Yes. And she
How did she do that?
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today.
My bishop was right there in the car. He points at Gabe, who's right there in the car. Gabe Bonilla. I say Bonilla. Some people say Bonilla. I don't know. I say it stinks. But anyway.
And I will have you destroyed. What she said there.
And destroy and murder are the same. Turns out.
Okay, that's not a threat to kill you.
Yesterday was a threat to kill me.
Okay. What did she say yesterday?
She said, "You're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my power."
The church had its own war department. They had a secretary of war, their prophet and president. In the Nauvoo period, what was his rank?
King.
Yeah, king. Yeah, it was. He was had himself. Yeah, and lieutenant general, or which kind of? And was he the first one since George Washington that had held that office? Commander in chief for the Zion's camp. That's right. Yeah.
Zion's camp. Now I roll over to Mormon.
Today is December 14th, 2020.
Mormonism Live, which is LDS Discussions, which is Bill Real and Radio Free Mormon. I learned so much from them. It's valuable to me. It's invaluable. It just is priceless. Knowledge is power.
14th, 2022. And we have a special guest on tonight. But before we get to our special guest, by the way, the special guest is called in. He called in at the end of last week's show when we were talking about violent language from church leaders, or language that could be seen as promoting violence, either directly or indirectly. We had a number of examples. And Ryan, who's our guest tonight, had called in, and we talked with him over the week. We arranged for him to come on the show. He's willing to do that, and talk about the inception of DesNat, in which he was involved. First, we're going to go to a news story from early 2021, I think it was.
Now, I know that, like Jen brought to my attention, DesNat, Deseret Nation. So here's a little history.
I think it was in spring of 2021. It's an ABC news story, and I thought it would be a great thing to start out to give us a bit of a primer on DesNat and who they are, what they like to do, before we get into talking with our guest.
Mormon Twitter, yes, it's a thing. It's buzzing about the hashtag DesNat. It stands for Deseret Nation. Some say it's an alt-right group of Latter-day Saints who want to purge the religion of those who oppose it.
Those who are part of the cause say they're just encouraging people to follow the prophet. ABC4's culture and religion correspondent Andrew Reeser is in the studio with us right now. So, Andrew, please explain.
Well, Don, for LGBTQ users and some former and active members of the church, hashtag DesNat, which first surfaced months ago, represents what they call Mormon extremism. But those who believe in Deseret Nation say it's just a social media push for Latter-day Saints to get back to basics.
Defending the truth, trolling, or threatening.
Talk of give apostates the knife, or let's do a blood atonement.
This Twitter user, afraid for his safety, uses the alias Brother Mike. Mike no longer believes in the LDS Church and says users of hashtag DesNat have harassed and threatened him and others online who oppose the church's views.
I don't know what they're capable of. Some are really, alternate right, extremists. I don't know how else to put it.
No one who believes in Deseret Nation wanted to talk to us on the phone or on camera, but did send us several definitions of what they believe DesNat followers are. Not extremists, but members who are, quote, unapologetic about our belief in the restored gospel. But what about...
That is scary as shit. Just saying. I know what they're capable. I know what this group's capable of. By ye fruits ye shall know.
What about memes bearing the DesNat hashtag depicting a family shielding themselves from groups like gays, feminists, and Muslims? Some Twitter images even suggesting knife violence against those who oppose the church's views. One DesNat believer calling for a blood atonement or a sacrifice of apostates. Less extreme users simply say they follow the prophet. But Brother Mike is worried for anyone with opposing views.
They really do think that they're doing the church a favor, that they're defending the faith.
Now, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is staying out of this for now, but they did refer me to past statements about their views on race, immigration, political neutrality, and fairness for all. For those views, you can visit abc4.com.
So there's the end of the first news clip. We get a brief update on what it is that DesNat is about from both perspectives. From the perspective of DesNat, who says that they are just faithful Mormons, they're following the prophet, and other people who are in more marginalized groups, perhaps, who find them threatening and outrageous and dangerous, potentially.
Do extremists ever know that they're extremists?
No.
No, extremists never think they're extremists. Every extremist I've ever met thinks they're a moderate.
Yeah.
Right? Extremist is something...
Coming to a reasonable conclusion.
I will tell you, I did have to laugh when the reporter at the end said that the LDS Church is staying out of this for now. And I'm going, what are you talking about?
Me too.
This is your church.
Right.
These are you. You can't stay out. That's not an option. You're already in it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're a third-party observer watching a flock of geese go by and saying, oh, well, we're going to stay out of that. We're just going to watch. This is your church. These are your members.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that gives me chills.
And I find that response inadequate. What do you think about it, Bill?
I think that tonight's episode is going to tell the story in a well enough fashion that I think for any reasonable person, aka not the extremist, and maybe even a few of them, I think that tonight's episode is going to help lay out that these views are, they go too far.
Well, if we could bring on Ryan. By the way, one thing I want to start off with asking you
Okay, so I'm going to kind of skip all that. And then it goes into the code talk again. I've shared this before. There's a code talk,
which talks extensively about the Constitution and about the duty of people who are...
Oh, wait. Let me go back a little bit.
Of all names.
Commander-in-Chief for the Zion's camp. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan, can I just take you back for...
Yep.
Ryan, just take you back for a second. What was your impulse to do this? Where did you feel like you got your marching orders?
Now, Ryan used to be... He was like one of the founders of DesNat, of Deseret National. Right? Yeah. Deseret Nation. I'm sorry.
I didn't feel like we got marching orders. I felt maybe, as I try to think back on it, did I feel inspired to do it? Probably, right? And it was from our readings of Doctrine and Covenants, section 134, which talks extensively about the Constitution and about the duty of people who are, if they're protected by a Constitution, to not rebel, but if they're not, they need to defend the country.
Hi, Jennifer.
It was from the White Horse Prophecy, which the church is now, as I understand, kind of disavowed, but it was pretty big on the internet at the time.
Now, it's not a clip this time. It's funny enough, it's Dana Milbank from the Washington Post, who is another one of those guys who's...
This is Young Turks' YouTube channel, The Young Turks, and I don't know who this guy is, but he's talking about Glenn Beck and the White Horse Prophecy, which is, it's a code talk, hanging by a thread. I'll let him tell it.
Guys who's pretty much an establishment writer. He's been doing some research in a book as well on Beck, and he nails it here. He found references that Glenn Beck kept doing that actually have some history that we don't know about. They're actually code words, okay? Now, at first, when I read the first paragraph, I was like, really? Code words, etc.?
Really? Code words, right? We're here. But it's a learned behavior.
Words, etc. Now, I'm going to show you at least two of the quotes here, and you'll see for yourself. First, let's go to Glenn Beck. This was when he first came on a Fox News channel. He was talking to Bill O'Reilly on November 14th of 2008, and he said, "We are at a place where the Constitution hangs in the balance. I feel the Constitution is hanging in the balance right now, hanging by a thread, unless the good Americans wake up." Now, if you don't know anything about Mormon ideology, you think that's the most normal quote you've ever seen in your life. Like, I don't agree with them, and he's got this bizarre ideology on the Constitution that isn't backed up by the law, by the Supreme Court, or by anybody else who's ever studied it. But okay, it's hanging by a thread. But it turns out, this is why Beck says over and over again, that wasn't the only time. He's had Orrin Hatch on his program, and over, they both say, and Milbank has the quotes, hanging by a thread, hanging by a thread, hanging by a thread, the Constitution. Now let's go to Brigham Young's quote from 8.
Okay, now Orrin Grant Hatch was an American attorney and politician who served as United States Senator from Utah from 1977 to 2019. Hatch's 42-year Senate tenure made him the longest-serving Republican U.S. Senator in history until Chuck Grassley, I think, surpasses him in 2023.
Now let's go to Brigham Young's quote from 1855.
Okay, and so the White Horse Prophecy has been characterized as effectively, and this is quote, effectively placing believers on perpetual red alert for the Constitution's possible demise. And that's big amongst this group. Pamela Romney Openshaw, she spoke at the Preparing a People events. She's still speaking for Latter-day Media. I follow them still, unfortunately. You know, it's like I have to keep an eye on them because it's amazing what you learn.
55, okay? Now, this is not just a random quote. This is one of those defining quotes, apparently in Mormon ideology, and that people who are Mormons know about this.
Reminds me of Barry Cox.
I'm not Mormon. I didn't know that this was one of the things that they believed. So Brigham Young said, quote, "When the Constitution of the United States hangs, as it were, upon a single thread, they will have to call the Mormon elders to save it from utter destruction, and they will step forth and do it." And apparently, Mormon leaders throughout the times have constantly gone back to the same phrasing. When the Constitution hangs by a thread, they will come in and save the day. It's called the White Horse Prophecy, okay? And the elders of the Mormon Church will ride in on the white horses. Now, of course, Glenn Beck is a Mormon convert. So he's basically doing what they call a dog whistle to the Mormon leadership and other Mormons, saying, this is the time when the Constitution is hanging by a thread. Bring out the white horse. And probably in Glenn Beck's view of things, he'll jump on.
and ride it off into the sunset and save the country. No, look, there's two things here. One, the guy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay. He's picturing white horses coming in on clouds. Okay. I mean, number two, you get a sense of why he keeps talking about the Constitution when if you actually cared about the Constitution, you would have been livid during the Bush administration.
Okay, I don't really get into the politicking part. It's just more of the okay. I just gotta show you all a couple more little things, and then I will meeting adjourned. But this is important. It's very important.
We ain't seen nothing yet.
Y'all know my Stroud.
Daybell and Lori Vallow, they met technically
So this is the infamous Reddit email, right?
September 23rd, 2018, through Jason Mao at Temple. Chad was told around that time by one of the three Nephites.
This is who I think the three Nephites are.
Mathoni?
Okay. So I found Mathoni, right? It's all code. And so what are the three Nephites' names? And it came to, it's quote, and it came to pass that on the morrow, when the multitude was gathered together, behold, Nephi and his brother, whom he had raised from the dead, whose name was Timothy, and also his son, whose name was Jonas, and also Mathoni. And I don't know, Mathoniah, I don't know how to say all these things. His brother, and Cumin, and Cuminonhai, I don't know, and Jeremiah, and Shimnon, and so on, okay? That's www.ldsliving.com. 5 things you probably didn't know about the three Nephites.
That a special woman would come into his life, November 2018, together at this point at the Mesa Preparing a People event time. Chad and Lori are still to each other in Temple, where they travel to another upper room, and Moroni gave Lori to Chad. The Savior was there. Moroni and Chad have been married to Lori in many other probations. Lori is their favorite spouse. Lori has been on 21 planets. Lori has been on 21 planets and Chad 31. Once he was a Holy Ghost. Holy shit. Chad 5 times on this earth, and Lori has been 4. Chad makes a portal in Lori's closet so she can visit him. Chad makes let me keep going. Oh my god. At this time, Chad told Melanie he has no relationship or interest in Julie Rowe. He had also previously said he didn't want anything to do with Suzanne Freeman.
That's another one. I don't quite believe the story all the way. Is this lady.
Previously said he didn't want anything to do with Suzanne Freeman. Lori and Chad believe they were in charge of gathering the couples for the 144,000. They make charts of who the people are and who is still to who and how many probations they've had and who they have been.
T.S. Jackson, I saw that Gary Busey on a wife swap episode, that show Wife Swap, and they talked about planning. I was like, no, okay, whatever. Just don't murder people, but here we go. Anyways, so I don't think they're Mormon, but what do I know?
And how many probations they've had and who they have been in past lives. This chart was on Chad's computer.
And I found this chart other places. Chad didn't make the chart up. Spoiler alert. It's a lot. So we'll have to do this in doses. And I know I'm killing Kathy and Leanne. Jen already had to go, but just bear with me. But if you have to go, I understand. I'm watching also the chat. And thank you.
This chart was on Chad's computer and in his email, so now it is public property.
And I know who wrote this email, but I'm not at liberty to say. But I do know who. It wasn't Melanie, it wasn't David, but I do believe it was inspired by them. If you know what I mean. Got to be technical. Oh my God.
This public property. The 12 apostles are on this list. Tammy is on this list and was put down as being married to John the Beloved, who is also Enoch, whatever one you want. Chad calls Lori and tells her that Charles is now Ned Snyder. Lori tells Charles he has become a zombie. His spirit has been hijacked by an evil spirit, and his spirit is in limbo. He was hijacked again and became Garrett, and then he became Eblos, 10 to 20,000 zombies. During this time, Lori is completely open to Charles, who she thinks she is. When she met Chad, she had already been translated in her mind and stopped wearing garments because they are meant for protection and she no longer needs it. Charles files for divorce and does business trips to Texas. Lori received a revelation that Charles will die in an accident on his way back home from Texas. He doesn't die, and Lori is frustrated.
That was the last time. That was the last New Year's I spent with my uncle and JJ.
She calls and has Alex come stay with her. Next morning, Charles is killed. Chad told Alex that he was the angel that had come and stopped Laman and Lemuel from hurting Nephi, and he is now Lori's protector. Alex believed all of this, and Melanie believes he was her hitman and did all the killings. Charles had Lori committed to a mental facility, and they tested her, and she told them who she was.
I don't get it.
Translated, part of the 144,000, and they let her ass go. July 11, 2019. Charles is killed. September 2019. Lori moves with the kids to Rexburg. Melanie is aware that Chad and Lori have taken trips together while both of them are still married to their spouses. They took a trip to visit multiple temples and receive revelation on who is
That's part of this.
1,000. They get up early in the morning to walk around the BYUI track together, holding hands and kissing. Tammy has become suspicious. Chad tells Lori that Tammy has now become a zombie. Lori, meanwhile, is telling Melanie that she can't wait to have sex with Chad and how it's such an important part of who you are and everyone should be having it at least once a day. And once she was with Chad, they would be having it 3 times a day. Everybody just, okay. Chad and Lori told Melanie that Alex, my mom, Kay, and Tylee have now become zombies. Lori withdrew them from school, and this was the last anyone saw of them. October 2019, Tammy dies. Chad calls Melanie and tells her not to answer the phone because the police would be calling her because he told them that the kids were with her. Melanie asked where the kids are, and he said that they were with Kay. Later, police came to her house and she told them what she knew. She started fearing for her life. She left her kids with a recently divorced husband and kid's father and went and stayed with David Warwick in Utah. They have been dating and are on Chad and Lori's chart. David becomes skeptical and wants out of it, sets her straight, and has her give full report to the police. She also records a conversation over the phone with Chad and Lori where she confronts them about their false beliefs and cheating.
And to clear her name. That's what she told John Pryor.
Calls him a poor whore.
Oh.
Lori blows her off and quotes scriptures of why Melanie is wrong. Lord, this was early January. November of 2019, Chad and Lori married, ? Day after Thanksgiving, Melanie receives email from Lori full of beautiful pictures of their wedding on the beach. She didn't even know they had gotten married at this point. December 2019, Alex dies, possible blood clot in lung, ? Melanie says kids are most likely dead. All were probably killed by Alex. Melanie remembers that Lori and Chad were frustrated why Tammy had not died yet. Chad told Lori it's not that easy to get someone's spirit out of their body. At any time, Lori and Chad could tell the number of zombies there were in any given state, usually around 20,000 nationally. They also said 2 of the apostles are zombies, Ballard and Renlund.
Interesting. Ballard and Renlund. I've been tracing that down. You know, why would they be zombies to Chad and Lori? But come to find out through 4 years of intensive, boring, yet I can't look away. It's like a train wreck and you're rubbernecking. That's me. Okay. And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But here I am knowing and stuff. I'm in the know and you're in the know now. And so Ballard, by listening to accounts of the second anointing from, Hans he was a general authority. I can't remember his name right now. Anyway, I'll go to the other one. Tom Phillips, the second anointing. Not too many Mormons even know of its existence. That's why I got so much pushback. They were like, we don't know what the second anointing is. They hide it from their own congregation. And so it's like fighting an uphill battle. And it's very lonely here. And yeah, that is why I'm not very popular. Because a lot of the people, following this case are probably a lot from that religion. I would suspect. I'm just assuming. I don't know. But a good majority. Anyways, so it fits the pattern. I have receipts. I have been collecting them, putting them together until it's time. It's not time yet to really connect it all the way to the top of the MLM, if you will. So, anyways, it's gross. Ballard and Renlin. And those accounts that I've read, and I've read more accounts. There's just not much out there as far as reproduction. There's a new name Noah who has gone and recorded sacred temple ordinances. He came out with a video today, and he's got so many more. I was like, holy crap. He gave a little preview at the end, and I was like, oh. And it was at the Gilbert Temple. And I'm just like, I always thought that Chad and Lori just made it up in their mind. They could have. I don't know, but it don't make sense to me now, for sure. Not knowing what I know now. All I can say is 2 Tickets to Paradise. That's the song that goes, 2 tickets to paradise. You're exalted. Done. And you can't tell people with murderous intentions that kind of stuff, because it's like giving them ammunition. In my opinion, it is enabling them. It's empowering them. It's like giving a narcissistic person, I don't even know. I don't even have I don't have an analogy for that. It's messed up. Anyways, but Ballard and Renlin, there has to be in the second anointing, there's usually 2 general authorities, but the present prophet of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has to pick your name personally. Allegedly, from what I've read, from what I've researched, that is how it is told. Hans Mattson, that's his name. Hans and Brigitte Mattson, and Tom Phillips. Go check them out. There's plenty to read online. Trust me. It's crazy. But anyways, here we are.
Around 20,000 nationally. They also said 2 of the apostles are zombies, Ballard and Renlin. They also
believe maybe they could have allegedly participated in second anointing, maybe, and exalted Chad and Lori, maybe, hypothetically.
They also believe that the SHTF, which is shit hit the fan, is this year, and that they could just wait this out in Hawaii and then come back.
Is November 26th.
All right, now hold your pearls.
In Hawaii and then come back.
Is November 26th, 2018. And we are our very first podcast. My name is Jason Mao, and to my left is...
I'm Melanie Gibb.
Melanie is awesome. For those of you that don't know who she is, she has some amazing abilities, amazing gifts.
Isn't that interesting? Because whenever she did some interviews with the detectives, they were like, well, what did you do? Oh, I just prayed to Jesus. I didn't have any gifts, so I just prayed to Jesus.
She has some amazing abilities, amazing gifts. She is what we in the business call a gatherer.
and people are naturally attracted to her because of just the light that beams out of her. The first time I saw her, I knew instantly that she was a gatherer, and she's become basically the point person here in the Southwest area for like-minded people.
The point person. And I have text, screenshots of that, the point person. They just appointed her. You cannot polish a turd. I don't care how much you try to. When you grab it, you're gonna get shit on your hands. It's a fact. We're not stupid people. I'm just saying, I'm not dumb. I mean, I don't have it all together. I'm not the most organized person. I'm not the most well-spoken person, but I am far from being an idiot. So, again, mess with the wrong people's family. And tricked out my lineage. That's messed up. That's a whole nother thing. This is the like-minded people thing.
I saw her, I knew instantly that she was a gatherer, and she's become basically the point person here in the Southwest area for like-minded people to start focusing on
greater light of knowledge.
And learning a lot.
Greater light of knowledge.
Like-minded people to start focusing on greater light of knowledge and learning a lot about themselves and about the Lord and what it is that He wants from us. And so I am honored to have her to my left.
Thank you.
She's close to mine. I don't know how else to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a God, and remember the 144,000. Jesus is coming next year. She took all the money out of her bank account today.
Also with us today is
Lori.
And Lori is so cool. Lori and I met in a very, very unique situation. And real quick, Lori, let's talk about that before we start, because people don't even know who you are. Well, people in the know who you are, but one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast is so that we can spread the light of knowledge and help people.
Spread the greater light of knowledge. That's something Mike Stroud says all the time. Joy, knowledge, greater light of knowledge.
Learn about who they are and find their gifts and draw closer to Christ. And what happened to you was pretty unique, and how we ended up in the same room together is even more unique. So can you start off with that?
Expound on that.
Daybell and Lori Vallow, they met technically September 23rd, 2018 through Jason Mao at Temple. Chad was told around that time by one of the three Nephites.
We can. It's so fun to be here with Jason and Melanie. I love them so much and grateful for them and all their service that they do. I feel like that I work for the Lord. I feel like I've turned my life to Him from circumstances that have happened to me in my life. And I asked Him who He wants me to meet, who He needs me to go to, and what He wants me to do. And I was sent to the temple on a certain day.
That's disturbing.
Go to and what He wants me to do. And I was sent to the temple on a certain day to get a message from someone.
Wink, wink.
And in walked Jason Mao.
You are the group that are being groomed for that. Why do you think you're here? You are the group.
Oh, sorry.
And when I looked at you, when I looked into your eyes for the first time and really saw who you were inside, I instantly knew you're one of us. You're a gatherer. You know, you get it. You understand that there's something bigger going on here.
Oh, it's bigger.
Church on Sunday, that this is...
It's way more than church on Sunday. Trust me. And it's, I don't want to be right. I don't. I try to convince myself that I'm not a lot. I remember sharing my take on this. It was hard to share. It was hard to be like, with Jen. And she was like, I don't think so. But now she's like, I don't know, Chris. I think you're onto something. You know, I'm just like, oh wow, I don't want to be. I don't want to be this. I was picking when I said I would be the Rhea Lemony. Like I changed it around. I didn't want. I love Leah Remini. I love the work she does. I liked her on King of Queens. I like I like her. She's got a colorful personality, and she interviewed John Dehlin a while back in the beginning of this case. And I was picking when I said I'll be the Rhea Lemony of the Mormon Church, and I was. You don't put that out into the universe because then karma's like, here you go, girl. Here you go. And I'm like, no, 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 please, no. Still, I don't. That's never when I was a little girl and people were like, what do you want to be when you grow up? No. Nope.
Going on here than just church on Sunday, that this is the end times, and you are awake, you are prepared, you are moving in that direction. And I saw that in just a half a second of that brother and sister connection that we made, and I just knew right away I had to get you in touch with Melanie. And I just knew right away I had to get you in touch with Melanie, and we needed to connect.
And he also connected, and Serena Sharp says like-minded people. Jason Mouse says like-minded people. Mike Stroud says like-minded people. You are the group that's gathered, whatever. But Jen said that's actually a common thing to hear. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm still using it. I don't care. Yeah. I even contacted her too, Kathy. I did. On Instagram in a comment. So I'm a nothing burger. But oh my God. Ugh. I need a film crew just for protection. I'm like, how does one go about this? You do it while it's all public. You do it but then you see the patterns of chat and Alex Cox. Why would I, show up? Alex Cox said, why would I show up in a recognizable vehicle in broad daylight and take a shot at Brandon? That's why. Because you're doing it right there in plain sight. That's why. Makes all the sense in the world.
A sister connection that we made, and I just knew right away I had to get you in touch with Melanie, and we needed to connect somehow. And so that's how one thing led to another, and then Melanie, you got the idea to start doing a podcast so that we could kind of just spread the good word.
Yeah, so once
she's so awkward. Who looks at Melanie Gibb and says, "Oh, look all the light beaming from her." Oh my God! Whoa, it's freaky. It's freaky deaky. Thank you, Kelly B. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to all y'all. Again, I know I drag y'all through this stuff every time. It's fascinating to me. It validates so many things for me. And it's not the narrative that anybody wants to be like, hey, because this sucks. This is the shittiest, in my opinion, the shittiest position to be thrown into in all of this. Because it's like, I can't just mourn like a normal grieving family member, or I could have, but I guess I'm extra. I dig. I'm nosy. I want to know. Right. I can't. They don't make eardrops good enough for my ears or my eyes. I can't undo it. But I feel empowered. I feel powerful in the sense that I know the Mormons speak. I don't know everything because I'm human. I'm not a god, nor do I aspire to be. Just want to be a decent human being who somewhat has a moral compass in check. That's all. And I want the stories of the victims to be told. They deserve that much. You know? Oh, man. Just when you look at the totality of people like this, since the beginning of time and time again, and it's not going to stop unless we allow it to continue. And I can't. Like, I try. I'm just like, no, just go over here and into the FOIA docs. Go. It's not my thing. This is unfortunately my thing. I don't want it to be my thing, but I don't have a choice, obviously. It chose me for sure. I didn't choose it. Yeah. And that reminded me of like Janice and Barry, how they deal with things, in my opinion, just sweep it under the rug. My uncle even, like saying that Lori wasn't hurting anybody. I mean, oh God, he just didn't want to accept the reality of losing her. And that's so sad. And it breaks my heart. But he died. He was murdered by being himself. He wasn't, he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But he died for love. It's what killed him. Love always wins, and then you're like, well, how? How did it? Not really. But it's not in that sense. It's like love will win at the end. When all is said and done, when Jesus comes back or not, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, at the end of this live stream, at the end of my life, it is all that matters. Can't take anything with me. Can't take anything with you. We're all going to die. We're not getting out of this alive. It's reality. I'd rather die for what standing up for what I believe in than to be a coward and try to cheat death. What's up with that? Wow, is real. And it creates this whole mess, just fear, fear mongering. And then there's no difference when the church had, when they excommunicate somebody for apostasy or whatever, energy healing. Remember Hector Sosa? That's the fun with, oh my God, that movie Fun with Dick and Jane, when Dick shows up at the office and the whole office is in chaos and everybody's like shredding shit and ficuses fighting over. I mean, that is what goes through my mind when I read Hector Sosa's, okay, we're shutting the Pathway to Zion account down. Good, nice knowing you all. You can, just all these instructions, just shutting down. Don't tell anybody about multiple mortal probations or energy healing. See you on the other side. I was just like, what the F? What? And so that's what I picture. And anything that you have to hide is not good. It's not good. Anybody who would rather sit in jail than say where their children are, it's not good. Nothing good came from their fruits, but it is and will continue right here. because I'm not a quitter. I take breaks. Not all versed in everything in the technology and I'm not a YouTuber, but it is a tool I gained along the way, that I picked up along the way, to connect, to make sense of these tragedies, their deaths, the murders. It's horrible. I don't want anybody else to have to experience this. There were lives. Blood was spilt, and it was not Chad's, and it was not Lori's. It was mine. And they messed with the wrong bitch. That's all I'm saying. Thank you. They're worth it. Their stories are worth it. So I don't know how they're going to spin this. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Thank you. It's heavy. It's heavy and it's gross. And I just did not want to, I never did. I did not want to envision this as the world I live in, but it is. And if Lori was a Satan, she sure was a good one also. Let's put that on the record. It's scary to know that Satan was in my family. That close. I mean, however you look at that, if you're a believer or not, wicked, no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees. I love music. I miss music. But yeah, there's so much more. There's so much more. That's the part that's like, okay, the 7 missions. I've got at least 4 boxes checked off. Oh my God, it's nuts. It's nuts. So we need lots of pearls, a lot of pearls, and maybe some hand exercises, because we're going to be clutching the shit out of these pearls. Yeah. So there's so many more things. It's not. I mean, I remember Allison Bulby, I'm sorry, whenever you emailed me and, about the name of Chad and Lori's cult. And I mean, for the life of me, I've thought about this along the way. I'm like, I don't know. They've just been called the Doomsday Cult couple. Lori and Chad Daybell. That's it. And I'm like, the zombie cult? I mean, I don't know. Nothing sticks. But that's because it's not just their beliefs. And you'll notice the more and more time goes on, this is important, the more time that, gets between us and the beginning of this, the more the church distances itself. In Sins of Our Mother, Colby shared this big old elaborate story about, and I could be off. Maybe Job is Isaiah. I don't know. I don't have I'm not a biblical freaking scholar. I'm not a Book of Mormon scholar. I'm not a Mormon scholar. I'm just here trying to find justice through understanding. Thank you, Hope Grace. Appreciate you. I don't know. I'm sorry. I have no idea. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. So, what was I saying? The cult name and all that. It's Job and Isaiah. And so Colby, there's a story, in Sins of Our Mother, where it's all about Isaiah. He was like, Mom, just quoted Isaiah and yada, yada, yada. Bullshit. That is not what was said in the beginning. Why did that change? How did that change? And it's not cool to just cherry pick. As a Latter-day Saint, it ain't cool. Just saying, it's not cool. It doesn't make you not or that it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a damn difference, because Joseph Smith believed that the Holy Bible was, and to each their own, again, to each their own, but it's not fact. You cannot base that as factual when the Bible itself, that inspired the Book of Mormon, allegedly, 16th, whatever. That's why they say thee and thou and thy. They're putting that back in the prayer. I just called that update. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Revelation comes out of the Bible. Those are ancient prophets, real ancient prophets from the beginning, whenever, from, I don't even know, from a long time ago, that had dreams and visions. So it's based upon, the Bible is based upon ancient prophets, dreams, and visions. And it's, and how I grew up, how I learned everything and I'm learning everything, it is just for guidance, for, it's to get you to choose the right. There you go, CTR. To not be shitty human beings. Okay. Anyways, it's not to be literal. And I know for a fact that, it says it on the landing page, that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints believes in the literal gathering, which is now, of Zion. Okay, of Israel, whatever. There's all kinds of names. There's so many names. New Jerusalem. Then there's this whole thing with Chad and friends and more, a lot of people of this belief system, that y'all remind me to tell you about the 7 Salems and was it the solar eclipse, August 17th of 2017, I believe, August 15th or 17th, I'm not sure. But yeah, 7 Salems, and Chad lived in Salem, Idaho. It is considered a city of light. Doesn't mean that's where they believe Jesus is going to come back. That's not where. They believe that Jesus is going to come back to, Adam God. There's an Adam God theory, right? And anyways, for not having a core or a huge background in religion, period, I don't know how. I've been like, how'd you not end up, I'm talking to myself, like, how the hell did you not end up signing up, paying membership? Whoa, I'm a damn spiritual giant. I'm not too much, I'm just like, holy crap. Whoa. Just on a damn mission, basically. Hunt for the truth. But anyways, yeah. So Adam God, it's called Adam on Diamond. And that is, they believe that Christ is going to come back in Jackson, right? Is it Jackson, Missouri? And then that's what Lori named JJ, Joshua Jackson. His name was Canaan, and it always reminds me of the Canaanites. I'm just saying, with all the, it just, wow. And Canaan means little warrior. It's crazy. But anyways, yeah, the 7 Salems, Chad lived in Salem. Rexburg is considered a city of light. That's why people moved there and are moving there still. Just saying, it's not just Chad. Chad just saw an opportunity, in my opinion. He does not possess an original thought. I was reading earlier in Suzanne Freeman's stuff, and it was on Chad Daybell's blog, and go look it up. It's Chad Daybell, how he met Suzanne Freeman. And he tells of a story, and he even says that, hold on, I got it. I can't go. I hate quoting things because I suck at it, and I don't want to misquote, and I'll forget. So, let's see, they're on my 500 screenshots. Now I got it. Okay, Chad Daybell says, from cdaybell.com or whatever, I highly recommend all three of them. And he's talking about Suzanne's books. He co-authored, but he published her books. I highly recommend all three of them, although Through the Window of Life, it's available free PDF, is the one that focuses specifically on the future events she saw. I greatly appreciate Suzanne and her willingness to share her experiences. She helped pave the way for my novels and other books books we have published. Okay. That wasn't it though. But hold on, right? Let's see. However, before I'd even consider publishing her story, I wanted to make sure her account stayed consistent within itself. I began asking her many questions to see if she would slip up or change her story. He's a little paranoid, huh? A little sus. But throughout and he quoted, interrogation, end quote, she looked me in the eyes and was straightforward with her answers. So that's important to Chad. After about 30 minutes of him interrogating Suzanne, I guess, I felt satisfied and said, quote, I believe you. I feel we should publish your experience, end quote. Suzanne seemed uncertain whether she had heard me correctly. Really? She asked. You believe me? She then explained she had been ridiculed within her family and in her community for even mentioning her experience, and she'd expected the same outcome from our meeting. I assured her that I believed her. I guess all is well in Zion. Shirley joined us. This is the other lady. That's who, yeah, go read it. Shirley joined us in the front room, and she agreed to help write the book. Co-author. Within a few months, it's titled Led by the Hand of Christ, was published, which told of Suzanne's various experiences while in the spirit world. While she was in the spirit world, Suzanne had also been shown a series of troubling future world events. At first, I pushed Suzanne to include these events in her book, but even talking about them caused her great distress. So I backed off. I sensed she had been shown those events for a reason, but possibly the time hadn't come for her to share them. Led by the Hand of Christ sold well throughout 2005, and Suzanne spoke to several groups about her experience. As the months passed, she felt more comfortable with describing the future events she had been shown by the Savior. She collaborated again with Shirley in sharing what she had seen. And the name of the book is Through the Window of Life, was released in 2006. And it told of troubling times America would soon face. It also became a bestseller, and in 2013, we released her third book, The Spirit of Liberty. And all these words, liberty, renewal, earth renewed, or whatever, all keywords, and they used them. Lori and Chad used, for sure Lori did, like in the Smule accounts, okay? Yeah, hallelujah, that song she sang to Alex. Well, crap. Oh, here it is. Okay, so, it's got him pictured, and he's, like, in front of the Twin Towers, right? Okay. And so it says, this dream had, God dang it. I go backwards. That's what to do. Another dream I kept having at this time was the Twin Towers were burning. In the dreams, I was always on the street below the towers. Oh, they were both on fire and people were running and screaming. I didn't know the cause. From my vantage point, it seemed like all Manhattan was on fire. I didn't go back far enough. But anyways, this dream had deep personal significance. Deep for Chad. Since I served my entire mission in New Jersey along the Hudson River. The Twin Towers were like a central beacon to me. Well, maybe that's why he's off. Sorry. I have several photos with them in the background, and we visited them with my parents when my parents picked me up after my mission. I even included what I had seen in Escape to Zion, his book. In the book, the main character, Emma, is in the future, and she reads an old newspaper about the Twin Towers being burned. So it kind of threw me for a loop when it actually happened a year later. Like, this dude needed to be validated. Holy crap. I continued to have sporadic glimpses into the future during this time. And I'll share more of those visions in later posts. But I want to give some background on my connection to Suzanne Freeman and author of Through the Window of Life. Soon after I established Spring Creek Book Company in 2004, I was contacted by my friend Shirley Ballman, Bahlmann, who is also an author. Suzanne had approached her at a book signing and told her about having a near-death experience. She was feeling prompted to share her experience, even though she was a shy person and was very reluctant to do so. So basically, Shirley met with her. Suzanne. She came away impressed. She then called me to see if I'd be interested in publishing Suzanne's story. Less than a week later, I drove to Ephraim, Utah, and met Suzanne at Shirley's home. She gave me a brief synopsis of her near-death experience. Then I asked her if she'd read other near-death accounts, wondering if she had, quote, borrowed, unquote, some ideas from those other stories. and I mean, so he goes through this whole thing where he's like testing her. Okay, he's testing her. It's nuts. He's cuckoo. Anyways, but yeah, go read that on cdaybell.com. How I Met Suzanne Freeman, August 17, 2015. So, anyways, that and the Jerusalem, it's great. It's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, that hindsight, man. I'm wise right now, knowing what I know now, right? Yeah, and that's it also. When you read the churches, that's what I was going to say earlier, but diverted as usual. When you go and read the church's policy on, basically like with Julie Rowe and all people like that, you do not, the false prophecy thing, when you put your faith and your money in I can't quote it verbatim or even loosely for that matter right now, obviously, but what I hear and what I get out of that statement, go check it out and let me know what you think as far as their policy on like energy healing. It's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to go look. It's the longest name in the world, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Policy. Ooh. Energy healing. It's so dark. It's such dark stuff. Energy healing is so dark. It's kind of like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You know, it's like whoever's messing with the dark junk, whoever has that on their heart is how I see it. Yeah, I did a whole thing on this. I just never shared it with y'all, but I'm not going to share it right now. But this is from KUTV, but it's a statement. It was about Hope Haven's events, which runs the Christ-centered energy healing conferences. Okay, let me scooch down. Let me get to the statement. The LDS Church urges caution. So 2 News reached out to ask if the church has a position on Christ-centered energy healing and the movement spearheaded by Ward. That's this lady's last name, Tammy Ward. And this is what they quote the church. The church sends a statement out. Quote, "We urge church members to be cautious about participating in any group that promises in exchange for money miraculous healings, or that claims to have special methods for accessing healing power outside of properly ordained priesthood holders." That's it. So don't pay for it. That's what I got out of that. Just because you spend your money, that's what makes it wrong. And they're not properly ordained by the church. But they do it. That's what I'm getting. Let me know what you think. I don't know. It's double standards. It's double speak. It's Mormon speak. It sucks. But anyways, yeah. Yep. And so that's exactly what I saw Christopher Blythe do whenever he was making statements about what Chad and Lori were doing with their 7 missions and stuff like that. It's in religionnews.com. That story. It's the 7 missions by Christopher Blythe, religionnews.com. And he distances the church. And so the whole thing with Colby and the Isaiah inference, if you go on eastidahonews.com and you look at the story from whenever Lori had that cellmate, remember the cellie? Cook was her last name. And that she, a fellow inmate or whatever, and this was like March of 2020, whenever Lori ran her hand up and down. I wonder if this is worth $1 million. That one. Colby Bryant, all this coronavirus is happening, and everybody's here to see me. That's what Lori said. Gross. Anyways, and that's when the girl helped her do her pencil eyebrows and give us the insane clown posse. But so, in that article, it says, and I remember this from, I follow the case, obviously. I've watched, there's not too many things out there that exist that I haven't, grazed upon and gone back 50 times. But it was about Job. Lori, back then, I remember hearing Job. Now, I don't know if kind of like Nephi and Lehi and Laban and Mathoni and Moroni, none of these exist in my Bible. I don't know these people. So I'm just saying, I know Job is in regular, but I just, I don't know. I don't know if it's a way for the church to distance themselves, because they like for us to refer to Chad and Lori as a cult. I'll tell you that right now. I know that for a fact. Yeah, Raphael. And that's funny too, Kelly. It's not really funny. It's not funny. I did a video on this, but I didn't release it because when I record videos on like this, I think we've met in a previous life, and it blew my mind. And while I was reading these forums and stuff, real conversations where the meat and potatoes are, where nobody's really hiding or trying to narrate or, drive their narrative, they're not trying to convince me. It's just, reflect off what they say, and I'm just like, well, it comes from Saturday's Warrior. It is nuts. And I've had it done for a long time. And in the very beginning of the video that I started, that I was making to share out, and this was before Lori was incompetent. So this is how long ago. But I make like connections during the thing, and I'm like, and so, I'm totally down another rabbit hole, a big one, a deeper one. And yeah, and so time, and it's, anyways, I need to share them because it's all these aha moments where I'm just like, holy crap, no way, no. But in the beginning of that video, I'm like, how many times, I say this, how many times have we heard Chad and Julie, I've never heard them specifically, but heard of, Chad and Julie saying, I think we met in the pre-existence. And I was like, how many times? And then there's this clip I put in. It's like, another one, another one, another one. Because there's so many times. There's so many times that I've heard this. I think we met in pre-existence. I think that's freaking weird. I was like, so when somebody says, how many times have we heard this in the LDS singles ward or whatever, I can't quote it verbatim, and I was like, I don't want to even know the answer to that question. Oh my God, because I've never heard it until this happened. But if this is just normal, how come nobody came forward and said, no, this is normal, this is not odd, this is not Chad and Lori, this is an LDS thing, this is not a Chad and Lori thing? Nobody did that for me. I'll tell you that right now. Nobody. Nothing but crickets. And that's where I'm pissed off with the members who are okay with following this case, listening to my voice right now, following this case and never speaking up for the kids, for my family, for the victims, for us, for understanding. Just like the Church of the Firstborn. It all goes back to that. Oh, we don't, second anointing. All these things come from source. And source is dangerous, but the truth is even more dangerous. But it'll set them free. That's all I know. Anyways, whew, I got a little pissed off, but that's okay. Yeah, I gotta go too. I know but it's almost 3 hours. But yeah, Debbie, nobody. If they did, they didn't. Again, and I've been like, hey, I've been reaching out. I made videos before I started doing live streams, asking. Now it's like past that. Like I've had to learn for myself. Thank God this was my way. This was what was intended for me. So yeah, right, Janet. I know. I love Heather. I've never had a girl crush, and not like in that sense. Like I'm just like, oh, I just like her. I like her a lot. She's a cool chick. I could see myself having a decent conversation, an honest conversation with her, and not being met with denial. And you know. My mom and Larry met her a long time ago and spoke highly of her, you know. But anyways, I was glad, you know, that she got to tell her story. Anyways, but the one thing that validated me in her story was the Mike Stroud comment, inference, or whatever, where Heather Daybell said that she had told Chad when she said Mike Stroud's name, his eyes got big, like, oh shit, Heather knows. And I was like, yes, you know, like, I got it. Okay, I got it. It's like, I'm not done, but it just is another reinforcement. It's another guideline that I check myself. I check myself so often that I probably hold myself back because I'm trying to be so careful and tiptoe. It's a very delicate position to be in. I don't want to say you're wrong, I'm right. That's not what I'm about. I'm just like, because everybody's experience is different. Nobody is the same. That's off the rip, you know. But then nobody's experience in Mormonism is the same. Nobody's experience in any of this is the same. It's all a different perspective. Yeah, not in a freaky way, but just in a, oh wow, yeah. I love the truth, and she's about as close to the truth as I've heard thus far. I mean, just well spoken, tells it like it is, and I admire the shit out of that, you know. So anyways, it's nuts, and there's so much more to go. And then what, you know? I try not to ask that. Let me not ask that. Wish I had a rewind button. Yeah, but I still think even like, if I told her how I see it, she'd probably be like, girl, you crazy. And I'd be like, look at what we're dealing with, though. It's not me. It's like, I'm following the evidence here. If that makes any sense. I'm following the false evidence. I don't know. Can't prove one's beliefs, right? But it's like, how do you prove the influence? Showing examples. That's how I do it. I mean, that's how my mind works. It's just pattern. It's like, oh, yep, and then application. It's so important. And so, in my opinion, it's set, Chad. Mormonism set, and I'm saying it, y'all. I need to get off here. Mormonism set Chad and Lori into motion. This plus this equals this product. And that is dangerous to me. That is deadly to me. And they're not the only ones. There are still 134, let me say it right. I didn't already. 143,998 other positions available to be one of the 144,000. Men and women. You have to be exalted. You have to go through the secret. It's not sacred. It's secret second anointing, which is a weird word to say. There's a pattern, and it goes up, Donna. It goes up, up. Ooh, Jason got me Taco Bell. I'm gone. Love you. Wait, he delivered a Taco Bell packet. Makes me happy. Anyways, it's like a fortune cookie. I've been hungry for Taco Bell, okay? I appreciate that, Samantha. It really does. And it does, yes. It should trace on the case. It should. it's like a freaking nightmare. It's a train wreck, but again, I have no control over it. All I can do is what I can, right? I love you, Kathy. Thank you. Donna said, get your feet washed and you are assured. That's it. 2 tickets to paradise. You're exalted. But and Donna, I know you follow it. LDS Discussions and Mormon Stories podcast, where they talk about the second anointing. I know you do. And so when they say that you can't do I can't ever say it right, unpardonable sin, that's the only thing that would I guess ex-nay your exaltation, is to shed innocent blood. And I'm like, okay, with that lens, how did they, Chad and Lori, allegedly, how did they, and this is just one we're gonna ponderize, okay? And that's a Mormon speak word. That's ponderize. We're gonna ponder it. And how did they justify? How are they justifying in their minds? And it's got to be literal. I know it's literal, like, and I got to go there, but basically, who did the actual snuffing out of life? Try not to get too, how did they get around? How they skirt that line? It's technical. I know that. But let's say they went through the second anointing, or exalted in their minds. And I know that if they did, and I'm putting myself in their minds as if I'm them and I'm exalted, but I can't shed innocent blood and I can't blaspheme the Lord. I'm like, too late. Too late to apologize for that. First off, too late doing it now. Playing God, no. How do they justify it in their minds? Is that where they used Alex? Did they? That's where I'm just like, I don't know. We won't know until the trials, and then who knows? It's between them and their God. But anyways, that's what I'm thinking too. That's yes, by saying they're zombies and they're dead already. That's it. Yep. I agree with you on that. Ponderize. Yeah, Kathy. Google it. Ponderize. Google that on up. They were saviors. Small S's, small G's. Y'all, I found this book, and it's by Bruce R. McConkie. And that's what I'll share next Sunday. We will find out the meaning of dragon in their minds, in their belief system. Dragon, all kinds of things. It's like a whole encyclopedia, and we'll Google that on up, and whatever, y'all can pitch it, and then I'll Google it, and then we will try to find justice through understanding. Thank you, Tina. Thank you. Thank you, my mods, and everybody here. Happy New Year to y'all. Thank you for the super chats also. Just thanks for putting up with me talking for 3 hours and talking about this for 3 hours. But it's very interesting and fascinating. And again, I feel like it's nothing I can ever prove or nail to a tree. But it's justice through understanding. KJ says it best, So that's how their story. That's how Tylee, JJ, Tammy, Joe, and Charles's stories get told, without anybody navigating it with their spin on it, And if I'm wrong, please let me know where, so I can correct. Because it's not about being right or wrong. It's just about being correct and following these breadcrumbs and trying to put this together as a non-Mormon, as a never Mormon. So, anyways, thank you so much. Food is fuel. All right. What was it that Colby said? His mom told him to pay attention to Job. She was being tested like Job. It's eastidahonews.com, and it's back in March of 2020, an article, and it's about the cellmate with Lori. I think they planted there. I'm just saying. Anyways, and she spills the beans about, her lockup time with Lori. And she talks about Job. She said that she references Job. And yeah, I'm saying. Anyways, you'll notice in the HLN special with Kim Powell and Eric Grossarth, distance. They all say the Bible, not the Book of Mormon. Very important to tie it to the Book of Mormon. Anyways, best advice I can give. But anyways, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much. No, that was the Isaiah one. I don't know. Job, I thought was like an old dude, old drunkard. I don't know. Again, not a Bible scholar. I'll have to go and look. So I will, and hide in the cavity of a rock, right? So, anyways, but yeah, we'll cover more next week. I'm feeling a little froggier, so it's time. I told you, Mama Bear, that I would. She was like, "Wait till after Christmas," and I told Jason, I was like, it's time. I don't want to forget it. So, anyways, I love you guys. Thank y'all for being here, and Happy New Year's. Happy unbirthday to Melanie Gibb, and happy birthday to my baby boy. And we're finally in the same year that the trials are, allegedly, as of right now. So I'll see you guys later. Love always wins. Never forget that.